Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. Let's just talk about the Wuben X5. Let me give you my bottom line up front. If you're a frequent traveler, you need a UV light for inspections, or you want a green light for instructional purposes, and you just like the way the Wuben X5 looks, then make the purchase. It's a decent deal, decent flashlight. But if you're looking for something more EDC friendly, this may not be the flashlight for you. There's some alternatives I'll suggest, but let's just talk about the Wuben X5. Let's put the specs on the screen. This is a decent flashlight. I had this before it released. It released on June 9th. And a couple of key highlights that I think is important. It does have this battery down here that I'm assuming maybe you can buy these extra batteries on Wuben's website. I'm not really sure, but you can also throw AAA batteries in here. That's why I say if you're a frequent traveler, this might be a good flashlight for you, because if you forget to charge it or whatever, you can throw some AAAs in here, continue to use the light. It charges with USB Type-C. It does have this wheel on the side, which will allow for you to click between the LEDs, lockout mode, and the UV light. The UV light is decent. It is like 365 nms of, I forgot what the NM stands for, but a decent UV light for a pocket-sized flashlight. It has a very good steel pocket clip. It's another reason why I say it's a good light to maybe keep on your shirt or something like that. For inspections, pull it out really quick, because you're not going to be really putting this on the brim of a hat or anything like that. It does have a daylight visible laser. The laser is only available in some countries as it stands right now. So if you are in Australia, the United States, Canada, you can get this particular version. Otherwise, you get like a watered down version of the X5 in some other countries. So it is a decent flashlight. It does have a USB-C charging port on the side, and I think it looks pretty good in an everyday carry. It's this all blacked out design. It's really sleek looking. I can imagine them coming out with more colors if this thing is successful. You can change the pocket clip around if you want to put it on the other side for whatever reason. If you pull it out of a certain pocket and you prefer that, then that might be something that you may want to do. So it does have rear to actually turn the flashlight on is the rear of the flashlight. So the right switch allows for you to go to either a momentary switch by half pressing it, or you can go constant on by clicking it. And once it's on, you just half press it and it goes through the mode. So let me turn off the lights and just show you what each mode looks like. All right, so here we go. This is eco, low, medium, high, turbo. So you see all the different modes there. This is turbo behind me right here. Eco, low, medium, high, turbo. I'll take you outside and show you what it looks like. Do a test of the Wuben X5. I want to just show you guys some of its capabilities. All right, so I'm standing here just to kind of show you the capabilities of the light. I'm just going to do some general shining around. This is eco mode or eco mode, low, medium, high, turbo. All right, so that's pretty good. And it's a decent light for stuff, just kind of be able to shine it around. Let me show you guys the laser. So here is the laser. Okay, so just to show you the capabilities of that. And then going back to turbo, you can turn on turbo while the laser's on. That's good. Now let me get back next to the camera. Let me just show you what this would look like in real distance wise. All right, so me standing next to the camera, my fence is 20 feet away. So that's eco, low, medium, high, turbo. So that's what it would look like if somebody's about 20 feet away from you. It's a floodlight, okay? And then if you see those evergreens to the right, those are 110 feet away. All right, so these evergreens right here, let me turn off the light. That evergreen right there with my green laser, that's 110 feet away. Back on turbo, just to kind of show you what this would look like. That's why I say that if you're looking for a EDC light, you might want to look for something else in Wuben's lineup. I would say maybe the Wuben X4 Pro. That might be something better suited for you, because I don't know if this one's going to be exactly what you're looking for. when it comes to an EDC light. But a work light or in a travel light, to have that UV on there, that's pretty good. I wonder if you can see the UV while I'm out here. I guess I'll try that out. So the UV light is on. You can't really pick it up on camera that much, but so let me show you what the X4 Pro would look like, same distance. All right, so here we are 20 feet away. This is the Wuben X4 in its turbo mode. And then if you go here, this is the Wuben X4 Pro in its turbo mode. So you can see it does have a much better spot flood mix on this light versus this is the X5. Okay, so that's the X5 in turbo, right? And then we go back to the X4 Pro in turbo. So I think the X4 4 Pro is much better for tactical purposes, EDC purposes, if you're trying to decide between the two. But you can see, let me go back to like a medium. You can see it's more like a floody type, doesn't really have a hot spot on there. That's going to be something that you need to think about in your decision-making process, if that's going to be something that you want. And if you go here to the UV light, you can see it's a decent UV light. I use it to kind of illuminate my watch here in a second, just to show you it does have the ability to put out some inspection purposes. And then of course, no matter which mode you're in, you can turn on the laser, whether you're LED or if you are in UV mode. If you go to lockout mode, it turns off everything. So one thing about this flashlight is that when you do the constant on, if you double tap or triple tap and go to turbo, or to strobe mode, it will go back to whatever the last setting that you had. So it remembers the last setting. So if you had it on high or medium or whatever, going to strobe and coming back will get you back to that mode. If that's important to you, that's something that you may want to do. Also, when you turn the light off and turn the light back on, it will remember the last setting. So this is eco mode, turn it back on, it turns back on eco mode. So if this is something that's important to be able to just get back to the last mode you had it for, then yeah, that's going to be something that you may want to check out. So this can run 4 AAAs. I don't know if it can get the max lumen if you run those, but like I said, if you are needing it to get back into that mode, it's going to be dope. So does it look good in a part of an everyday carry? Yes, it does. Let's talk about the whole Wuben lineup, where I think this thing lines up when it comes to that. And then I want to talk about just overall some of its biggest competitors and why Wuben is now kind of like competing in this space. So the Wuben X lineup, Wuben has decided to go with this square body lineup for their flashlights that they deem to be a part of this whole X lineup, right? And so deciding between these is getting a little bit easier because I think the lineup was entirely too complicated before. They've seemed to narrow it down quite a bit, and it's going to be helpful if you're really trying to figure out what you want. Now, the X2 is discontinued, but if you can get an X2 or an X2 Pro, these things are built for rugged, I mean, just accidentally dropping them, throwing them. They're fantastic for stuff like that. So these are primarily a pocket carry. They have a very durable pocket clip. It has you flip up right here to charge it. They don't have many of these left, but I'd really like this light when they had it. Very powerful beam on this, up to 2,500 lumen, a good beam distance. These were fantastic lights. If you can get your hand on an X2, I would say if you're just looking for something that's like a tank, you're going to hand it to your kids, you're going to drop it a lot. The X2 was something that was good for that. Then we got to talk about the XO. The XO is like this tiny right angle cube, and it maximizes power to size. It packs a heavy punch for the footprint, and the features are fun. It has a mechanical flip up top, and it's like a fidget toy. So if you want to have something that you can fidget, you're going to be wearing it on like your shoulder strap all the time, then this might be something you want. It also has a magnet, so that right angle might be useful for you. You can walk up and down the modes by holding the button instead of having to tap through it. So it's a dope little light. This might be a good complementary light to a Wuben light that you already own. But this would be something I would say is a backup light. Maybe not necessarily your go-to only EDC light, okay? Then there's the X3 light. The X3 light has a lot of different ways you can buy it. You can buy the bare light by itself. You can get it with this rechargeable case. This rechargeable case also outputs power, so if you need to charge another device, you can. When you put this in the case, this thing, you can still use it while it's in the case itself. So that's something I like. The thing also about the X3, this is you know, these are it's very similar to a specialized, like similar, I would say it's like a kissing cousin to the X5. It's like a hands-free work light because it does have this rotatable head at the top. And this entire pad right here lets you recharge this with a wireless charger you use for your phone. So if you forget your charger, then you can set this whole thing on a recharging base. You can charge it because it doesn't have a USB-C port. So that might be something that you want to do. So this might be a good light that you consider if you want just to have another inspection tool, especially if you're going to always have the carrying case for you. And then we're going to talk about the X1 Pro. The X1 Pro is a maximum search tier floodlight. And if you don't mind the bigger size, if you want to use this as a bike light, I will 100% recommend the X1 Pro. Big, beefy, has a cooling fan to help it keep itself cool, so you can pump out 12,000 lumen. Very, very beefy. But you're like X, all that is very confusing. I'm trying to figure out an EDC light within Wuben's lineup. These are I would say your two things that you would look at the most: the X4 Pro and the X5. The X4 Pro, I think, is better suited if you want a tactical, physical flashlight that has more features. It's better for everyday carry. And it's just going to be something that might be more useful for you. You can put this on a brim of a hat because of the way the pocket clip is situated. And it does have RGB modes, which could be important for you if you're looking for a signal light. If you want to put this on the front of your shoulder strap, let somebody know in front of you on a trail that you're coming, right? Maybe you want to do that. Or if you want to have a white light so that you can put this down and have a light in front of you so that you can do whatever task that you're doing, the X4 Pro might be better off for that. It has a magnetic base, albeit it's not the strongest magnetic base, but it does have one. And once the light is put into any of these actuation modes on the side, you can hit this rear button and get instant turbo. So, and it's a very clicky turbo, and it gets you instant strobe if you double tap it as well. So it's just a very good light. It has a good eco mode. If you take it all the way to the top, that also exposes the USB-C port. Right here, it gets you the regular flashlight. You click it here, and you can go through the different modes by just spinning on this dial right here to get through the different modes. You can still get to the RGB mode with the next mode, and then, of course, the lockout mode. So this is a flashlight that you may want to consider if you're trying to find a light that's going to be, you know, use an 18650 battery. It's going to have a much better battery life, and you can throw another 18650 battery in here. Matter of fact, I have an Ace Beam 18650 battery in here, whereas this Wuben has a proprietary light or triple A's. So that's why I really believe EDC X4 Pro. Inspection, travel light. What I mean by travel, I just got back from Blade Show Atlanta, or Blade Show, and this was the flashlight I took with me, and this thing was great. I was able to use the UV light to just kind of shine on the bed in the hotel, make sure there was no weird stains. And of course, you have a flashlight. I was able to have this with me on. I took the train when I got to Atlanta, and of course, I like to have that strobe mode as an extra protection mode to shine in someone's eyes. And then it's just a flashlight to have on you just in case you drop something at Blade, or if you drop something or whatever, you can have this on you at all times. So you may be asking yourself, what about some of its competitors? Because, you know, there's a lot of brands doing these 3-in-1 or 4-in-1 options where you get a UV, a laser, an LED, or whatever. So which one do you really decide with? So there is the Olight Arc Pro or the Arc Pro Ultra, which we're not even going to talk about. You got the Wuben X5, and then you have the Nikkor EDC17, which we're going to have the EDC09 stand in because I gave my EDC17 to a neighbor. So you're trying to figure out, well, which one is right for you? Well, the Wuben has both of these beat because you can take the battery out and swap it out in a pinch, so that makes it a lot easier. This has a much easier user interface. I can hand this to almost anybody. I handed this to people at Blade Show. They knew, oh, twist it to unlock it. And then they found out that pushing one button was the laser. The other button was the light. It didn't take people long at all to figure this thing out. And so I'm just showing you this for illustration purposes because this is not the actual light. But you may say, with the Arc Pro, has a lot of features on it because it has a spot, it has a flood, it has a UV light, and it has a laser. I would say that for the money, if you like the aesthetics of the Arc Pro and you want a little bit more lumen, because this does have a higher lumen output, maybe it's worth it to spend 30, on average 20 or 30 more dollars to get the Olight, because you can still charge it with USB Type C, or you can use their proprietary charger. And at the end of the day, this is a very decent light. But if you want the rear actuation of the flashlight, I really like the Wuben X5 for that, because if when I'm traveling, if I did legit forget to charge this, I didn't have to worry about it. I was going to be able to change it out. But I think the Olight looks way better, in my opinion, right? The Olight just is a better looking flashlight. And if looks are important to you for your everyday carry, then that's going to matter. I mean, look at my Olight, a part of an everyday carry, right? Versus the Wuben X5. The Wuben X5 really is trying to fill in that gap of functionality, in my opinion. And I think it does a pretty decent job of that. So that's what I think. The Wuben X5 is something that you may want to consider. Ergonomics are great. You might want to come up with a way to do some type of pocket clip that lets you to put this on a hat, because to go hands-free with this means you got to put it in your mouth, because there's no magnet, there's nothing, anything like that. So that's something that you may want to consider. So that's just something for the future. And I think that this wheel on the side, it is very easy to read and easy to navigate, but I almost kind of wanted to, I don't know, I guess maybe have like engraved markings. I can see that this paint on here could come off over the years. Like, look at my Wuben X1 Pro. This thing, I've been dropping it all over the place. It's starting to get scratched up. So could I see the markings coming off of this? Yeah, because if my Wuben X1 Pro is anything to like as a testament to that, maybe they may want to etch this in the future. That might be something that might be better off, because if you look at the Olight, all the markings are etched into with a laser for navigating this flashlight. So it's less likely that don't know how it works in the future if you hand this to somebody. But, that's just a very first world complaint. But let me know what you think. Would you pick up the X5, especially with the price point? It's cheaper than its competitors right now. And I think it's a decent flashlight. Hopefully they don't discontinue it like they've done some of the other things in their lineup. I think their lineup is almost complete. Okay. Got your X1 Pro. You have your X4. You got everything that someone, if they're trying to dig through your lineup, Wuben, and find a freaking flashlight that may work for them. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If it's not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.